I want to say thank you to everyone that volunteered, that helped out today. Really appreciate it. Democracy at its finest. I'd like to say thank you to the registrars for your professionalism and your patience today. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to thank the whole Leominster community. This really is democracy at work. I want to thank the Board of Registrars. I want to thank the Lynn. I want to thank the public safety officers over here. I want to thank the attorney who was such a wonderful asset. My opposing counsel here, Dennis Newman, who is a great attorney and was privileged to work with him again on the other side this time. I did want to say one thing, which is that as great a process as this was, it was run really extremely professional. We did have serious concerns with the conditions of the ballots. When the safe was open and we saw piles of ballots that were not sealed in any container, and we're not quite sure still of how they made their way from the polling place into the safe, but were just lumped in a pile, and they were mostly Mr. Ricker's ballots. There is a need for some change in the way that elections are managed in the city, because we just want to be sure that elections are run fair and square. And that was a problem that I faced before, and it really needs to be addressed. Other than that, I want to thank the people of Leominster for hospitality, our volunteers, all the volunteers on the other side, the mayor for a public contest. And I'm not going to make any more objections. That's it. Thank you.
And I would like to echo that. I would like to thank the board for your patience today. It's a long day. The clerk, Special Counsel Ron Walter, Christian Green, their expert and professional consulting and community help on this recount and their professional was. All the workers for both the mayor and Mr. Ricker, everyone conducting themselves in a professional.
Good afternoon, and what an incredible process. As Ken said, this is democracy in the making. Absolutely incredible. To see the whole process kick in, we require everyone that's here today, for some part of it, to make sure that democracy is carried out. So thank you to all the election workers, the Mazarells, and the Rickers have been friends forever, and I hope we can continue to be friends before.
It's okay with you, attorney. I think representing the board of the registered voters, we want to thank all the attorneys, all the people that work here. And we did not get tired of listening to you guys talk. So just so you know that we're happy that democracy can be in effect. So thank you all. So the results of the election are Dean Mazzarella, 4,480 votes. Kenny Ricker, 4,374 votes. Other write-ins, 40, and blank, 248.
TV. Happy to have you along with us here on Facebook Live and joining us from around the city of Leominster and potentially around the world. Democracy in Action was the name of the game today in the City Hall Auditorium, the John Arteta Auditorium here at Leominster City Hall. As we kind of have the conversation, and we just heard from the candidates a few moments ago, both Mazzarella and Ricker having an opportunity to talk about and thank the voters and thank everyone who participated today in what was, from all reports, a very fine and well-run process.
Absolutely. There were objections from Ricker's camp and Ricker's lawyer relative to how the ballots are handled following the initial count on election night. So something that I know that the city will have to probably look into how they handle that. But once again, it looks like Mayor Dean Mazzarella, 4,480 votes to Kenny Ricker's 4,375. There were 40 other write-in votes, so it looks like Mayor Dean Mazzarella will be in his seat for 2 more years.
Yeah, for another 2-year term. And I think the important part to kind of flush out what you were talking about, the objections that were noted by the Ricker camp and their lawyer at the conclusion here when they had an opportunity to make public comment, referred to a series of ballots that were not bundled up and or locked up in some kind of Tupperware tub. If you were watching this online all day long, you saw the ward by ward, precinct by precinct, there were Tupperware tubs that were zip-tied shut, where the ballots were actually contained after they came down from their particular polling locations and locked up in the city's vault. The attorney noted that there were some ballots that were not inside of those tubs, inside of those vaults. Instead, they were bundled together outside of, they were in the vault, but they were outside of the tub, so they weren't located with any group of ballots. And he did note that they were all Ricker votes. So something to take note of there, and something that attorney, an experienced attorney in recounts, he was a member of the Gore-Lieberman team, as was the Mazzarella lawyer as well, were both members of the Gore-Lieberman team, this according to a report in the media from the Sentinel and Enterprise today. So they are experienced attorneys in recount politics from the election of 2000, and they were noting that there was an issue with how the process ran from the end of election night to here, but they did not contest the election based on that point, at least so far as we can tell.
No, everybody was very pleased with the professionalism all across the board, from all of the lawyers and the attorneys that were here to all of the people that were part of the recount and all of the checkers as well. So again, it does look like Dean Mazzarella, by around 100 votes, is going to retain his seat as mayor of Leominster for 2 more years.
And I think the important note here to come out of this came at the very end. It was said by the mayor and was then echoed in a hug with Ken Ricker. That the important note here is not only, of course, was democracy in action here, but the Mazzarellas and Rickers were friends before this process began, and they both hope that they'll remain and maintain that friendship in the years to come. So that was a really nice process to see. And of course, I mean, we do see this a lot of times, at the ends of elections that are so bitter through this process. You never had that bitter feeling throughout this process, and it ended on a really positive note here. 100 votes apart. It says a lot about maybe a lot of the feelings that were going on here in the city of Leominster, and perhaps how the next 2-year term for Mayor Dean Mazzarella will transpire.
Absolutely, and I know that Todd and I want to thank all of the Leominster TV viewers for checking in. We know that you were calling. We were both at work. We got here as soon as we could, and with the help of Carl Pemerini and Jane back in the studio, we wanted to make sure that we got all of those results to you as soon as humanly possible. So thank you very much for your interest and your continued viewing of Leominster TV. We very much appreciate it.
And for your continued viewing of Leominster TV, Thanksgiving Thursday comes your way. Not too far along. We'll be there at Crocker Field as well with your coverage, both on Facebook Live and also on the channels of Leominster TV on Comcast and Verizon. So do continue to tune into Leominster TV. Thank you for being active participants. Thank you for coming out and doing your part and being part of this democratic process in the city of Leominster and coming out to vote 2 years from now. We look forward to as higher turnout for what will be another exciting election process and another election night here on Leominster TV. So for Carl Permarini, Jane back in the studio, and Kate Robbins, I am Todd Robbins. Thank you so very much for joining us. So long, everybody.